What is up?
That song's a straight banger, dude. That's awesome. Y'all like the new intro music? That was amazing. I was sitting there the whole time like, let's go. That's awesome, dude. All about that. All about that. Oh, man, now I'm hyped.
We just need a video now.
Wow, we just need some awesome video segue of us developing in our chairs.
Yeah, like have you seen that episode of South Park where the guy's playing World of Warcraft and it's like an epic thing and he's just like,
yeah.
We need that.
We just need that. Chat, help us out. Animate us that, but it's me and Declan just big fat guys in our chairs. Oh, too funny, dude. Too funny. Welcome, everybody, to the Practically Reality Podcast. My name is Garrett, also known as Garrett the Gamer. Some people know me as Breadbox. It's an alter ego, working on that one. And we've got Declan here, my good buddy, to hear that thing. Oh,
what's up, guys?
Lost that one. Anyway,
not everyone can be a winner.
It's the Practical Reality Podcast. We talk about gaming, tech, news, anything that's on our minds, guys, and we go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you don't catch us live, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places you get your podcast, guys. But yeah, we are here, and we are ready to talk about the excellent stuff that happened this last week.
And some bummers. Let's be honest, dude.
There was a little
bit of a bummer week,
dude. Yeah, we'll get to it. But anyway, chat, welcome. We are live. Again, like I said, we go live every week on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to ask us questions or interact with us on the actual podcast, guys, that's where you can catch us on YouTube, Twitch, and all the good places. Make sure you're following us on TikTok as well, guys. We've got a whole TikTok channel going with like highlights. So
yeah.
We're an official podcast, yo.
This is our 15th episode. That's
Holy
a long
crap.
time. Yeah.
I have it listed at 14 right now, so I'm gonna change that.
Oh shoot.
My bad.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Declan, we stayed with something for more than a month, dude.
I know, it's been like 4 months, it feels like.
I'm proud of us. Dude.
How's your week been going, man? What you been doing? I saw your Minecraft stream at the end of last week.
I played Minecraft. I played the Minecrafts, and dude, I got thoughts. We can talk about Minecraft for a minute.
You got roasted.
I got roasted alive, dude. And oh my gosh, bro, I felt stupid in that game. Like, oh gosh, just yeah, we'll get to that, dude. But we got to get into wins and losses. What do you got for us? What's a gaming win of the week? Again, what's a gaming loss?
So, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know that I am a huge tabletop role-playing game nerd. This bookshelf right here, this is all Dungeons and Dragons books. It's every single one that came out since 2014. So, love Dungeons and Dragons, and I talk about Demio a lot. And today, there's an official announcement. It's on IGN about a Demio X Dungeons and Dragons new game coming out soon.
So hype
in VR.
Like that is so hype.
Yeah, it's gonna be so cool. It's called
so here for it.
Battle Marked. So it's a game by Resolution Games in Dungeons and Dragons. It's a crossover game that is basically Dungeons and Dragons, but you don't have a dungeon master. And there's going to be 2 campaigns that launch in 2 settings in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. They haven't announced which ones, but I would imagine it will be probably the Greyhawk, which is kind of the setting. It's the original Dungeons and Dragons setting they made in the 70s. Okay. And then the most common setting right now is called the Forgotten Realms. So I imagine there's going to be 1 campaign in each setting.
All right.
And it's all going to be story driven. And then they're going to do DLC with new campaigns in the future.
I love that. Like, so like as someone who's never played D&D before, like the sheer volume of getting into the game is kind of overwhelming. So I love the idea of like, especially Resolution Games, because they just do such a fantastic job. Like them kind of coaching people into it. I feel like that could potentially lead to a huge, not that D&D is struggling in any sense of the word, but like I could see like kind of a surgence of new players like getting brought into it via a game mode. That'd be awesome. I'm so stoked. We definitely got to play that one on a live stream when that comes out. That's gonna be hype.
I think it's gonna be so much fun. Dungeons and Dragons was the first one that I played. I've played a lot of tabletop role-playing games since then, and Dungeons and Dragons is pretty complicated to start. Like,
Okay.
easy system in comparison to a lot of other things, but character creation takes forever. Like, there are a lot of different things that, um, take a while with D&D. So it'll be awesome to get new people engaged in like the mechanics of D&D through a video game with like less setup, because the setup really is the thing.
That makes sense. I feel like again, like, you know, like the idea of like creating a character, going through all the stats and stuff, it just feels like you can automate that so easily. And then like it's just, you get to the fun part, which is actually playing the storyline, having the goofy, you know, interactions of being your character, and the actual role playing part. It's like let's get to the roles as fast as possible. Love that. Love that. Love that. That's gonna be sick. Okay, yeah, that's a dub, dude. That's a dub for like two reasons. Number one, like that's gonna be a sick game. But number two, like that's VR yet again stating, hey, we are a viable solution.
Yeah. Like, well, that's a huge collaboration. That's like, Wizards of the Coast is giant. That opens the doors for Magic the Gathering VR games. Ooh. And Resolution Games is already such a big like studio and agency, or I guess distributor, publisher, that's what it's called. A studio and a publisher, that they could get like some pretty big projects out there.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, that's sick, dude. I love that. That's a big dub. That's a big dub. All right. What? How do I match that? I played Minecraft. No. Okay. Actually, though, the big dub that I want to talk about this week is actually more of a personal win.
Okay.
We started prototyping one of the 3 games that I pitched, and I'm very excited about it. I want to keep it on the DL. Like I don't want to get anyone like too excited about it, but like we started like building out a small prototype, and we started kind of messing around with the mechanics and doing a little bit more design and stuff on it, and kind of like nailing down like the art style and whatnot. And it's just like again, guys, we have not decided on which of the 3 games we're gonna do. We just started prototyping this one out because it's the easiest of the 3. That's the one hint I'll give you to which of them we're started working on. But like there's something about making a new game, dude, that always just feels like a win.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just back to that like groundwork. Like you're just like trying to figure out what's fun, what works well, just figuring out those things. Like I love Sail. I will always love Sail because it has just been my like springboard into all of this stuff in this whole world. But like at this point, Sail is almost at a point where it's like we're not doing too much new stuff. Like we're almost trying to solidify what exists, and it's a different world. And like I love Sail, and I've got so many cool things planned for Sail. But it's fun to jump back into that like new get that new game up and running type stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been a major dub, and I'm all for it. I love it.
I can't even imagine. I work on projects like I'll wrap one up in like 3 weeks, so I'm constantly changing. I can't imagine working on something for like what 5-6 years now.
We're coming up on 5 years. The plan as it stands right now is on July 13th. We're gonna go officially out of early access into full release because that'll mark 5 years since I started working on this game.
That's nuts.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's been a major win, dude. Like I love working on games. I have so many game ideas, and it's fun to work with a team who like also just like matches that energy that I have, and they're like, yeah, let's do it, new game, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's major dub for Red Team Interactive, new game in the works.
That's awesome. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for you to say which one it is. We have a lot of guesses in the chat. There's some people saying, what was it? Some depth,
certain depths. Yeah. So the 3 games is we've got Z-Route, Certain Depths, and Monsters and Mazes. And again, we haven't decided on which one we're gonna put all our efforts to, but we've started prototyping out one of them because it's pretty easy. And then we're gonna prototype out the other ones, and we're gonna let people play it, and we're gonna see which one we're the most excited about internally.
Yeah.
And also like with the community as well. So if you guys aren't a part of the secret project Discord, which has all 3 of the games, and we're like asking people stuff, go and join it. The link is somewhere. You can find it. I believe in you. So
sick.
That's my win, dude. It was fun.
Good. Well, now onto some sadder stuff. Less fun.
Yeah.
Losses for the week.
Big losses.
Ubisoft just closed a studio. They're Leamington. I don't know where that is exactly, but
Leamington?
They closed a whole studio. And then they had layoffs in Dusseldorf, Stockholm, and Reflection Studios, which is one of their studios. So that's 185 people that just laid off this week.
Oof, that's a significant size, isn't it? Ubisoft isn't that big.
Ubisoft's huge. Like,
how many studios do they own? Ubisoft have. I'm looking at.
They have 19,000 employees, so it's like
45 studios. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and again, it's like for a big company, that's not a ton, but that just means they're going to stop doing projects. And then we've talked about it on the podcast multiple times. They haven't been performing, they haven't been delivering. So we kind of saw this coming. Everybody knew that this was going to happen if you follow video games.
I mean, if they want to stay in business, they've got to cut some fat. Like, it's just the way it goes. I've even had to do that with my small studio several times. We've had to let people go just because it was like, we gotta survive. Like, it's the way it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So it sucks though. There's nothing worse than telling someone like, hey man, you're done. Like, we gotta survive and you're cut. Like, that honestly, my least favorite thing about being a like game studio owner is that, because like game development is the dream job for so many people. And I feel so lucky to like be doing that and to let other people do that. So there's like nothing worse than saying, hey, you can't be a game dev anymore for me. I'm sorry. You know, it's like, absolutely heart-wrenching. So yeah, that's a major loss, dude. Ubisoft laying people off. But I don't know, man. It's times like these. I've said this before, but like, it's times like these that people get creative, and creativity is when we get cool new stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm hoping something good comes of this, but if not, I'm kind of curious what will happen to what remains. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, my loss is kind of the same thing. So there's a VR company called Fast Travel Games. If I'm not wrong, they were the ones that did Echo, right? Are they Fast Travel? Fast Travel Games did.
No, they've done a couple. I don't know if Echo was one of them, but I've seen some of their stuff before.
What?
I was looking at this too.
There's one that they've done that is super popular, and I cannot think of it right now. I am blanking on it. Action Hero, Mannequin. What games did they do? Why don't you show me your games? This is the worst website I've ever.
They did Broken
Into the
Edge.
Radius. Broken Edge, Project Demigod.
Wraith, the Oblivion, Afterlife. That was a huge one.
Guardians Frontline. That's a great
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts. They've done a lot of publishing lately. A lot of these are published like titles. Okay. So they're like one of the few VR publishers. But they had
The Curious Tale of Stolen Pets. That one was a really cute game.
What fetching game? There's a big game they made. Help me out, chat. What was it? Fast Travel Games. What did they make? I can't believe I'm blanking on this right now. What the heck? Anyway, they're a big name in the VR space, and they just announced that they had to lay off 30 employees because they're saying, and I quote, this is from GameDeveloper.com. They said they're quoted that VR faces an uncertain year, which I didn't read enough of the article to know what they're talking about with that. But like, that's never a good sign when one of the big people in the VR industry is like, oh, we're laying people off because this is an uncertain year for us. Like, that's a loss. That's scary for a lot of reasons. But yeah, that's mine for the week. This Fast Travel Games made a layoff. I gotta look into the statement. So I'm kind of curious what's going on there.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. I feel like there have been. I think it's just going to be an uncertain year in gaming in general with like AI and stuff. We've talked about this before, but AI is going to make things make people less needed, especially like mid-level developers, which sucks. But I think that we're going to see more layoffs this year. Honestly, it's going to suck.
So this is their official statement. I was just reading it. It's kind of interesting. It says, a message from us at Fast Travel Games. Due to lower sales than expected from our 6 game launches in 2024, in combination with a more uncertain year ahead for VR games as a whole, we've taken the difficult decision to make 30 employees redundant at Fast Travel Games. These changes will affect mainly our publishing, marketing, and admin departments, although the studio will also be impacted as we consolidate down to 1 development team.
Yeah.
Oh, it says their focus is now supporting all fast travelers through this challenging time. We are grateful for the invaluable contributions to those leaving and remain committed to continuing launching incredible games for our players. Dang, 6 games in the last year that just didn't perform. If I'm being honest, that's not surprising to me.
Yeah.
I saw the games that they released, and I'll just keep it at that.
It's just hard. It's hard to make things that stand out. Marketing is so important. Like what you're doing is super important for a lot of companies. I remember a couple of years ago we talked about the VR game drought. That was going on for years. There's no new content and people were just eating up whatever. But now with the opening up of the store, there's too much content and people are just missing things. So it's like a weird balance that we're trying to find and strike up.
It's like the funny thing to me though is like you get these big people like Fast Travel Games who I think I mean again I am also in this space, but I have a much different like ideology that I feel like a lot of these people are coming over from the flat game industry, and there is a standard of doing stuff over there. There's like a very cut and dry, like this is how we do publishing, this is how you do deals, and also like most games in the flat screen industry are paid games. That is not true in virtual reality. If you want a game to get to the people and the demographic, you got to make it free to play.
For sure.
And I don't think a single one of Fast Travel's games this year was free to play, which is one of the reasons why I feel like they didn't do very well. Like they created a bunch of like they're cool games. Like Mannequin is basically prop hunt in VR, and it's very like unique to VR. But it's like that game relied on a multiplayer presence. Nobody's online because nobody's going to pay $10 to be in that game. So
it's the same mistake they've been making since we were in college. Like honestly,
it's crazy that it keeps happening. I mean, obviously there's been ups and downs. Like obviously with like the surgence of different like holiday seasons getting crazy growth. Like you think like like this is great, but again, like I feel like some people just aren't reading the room very well. And it's like, I know you guys have this idea of what you want VR to be, but that's just not the case. Like you kind of have to accept the fact that, you know what, VR is a young demographic who like games like Animal Company and Gorilla Tag. So
yeah, for sure.
Read the room, play the audience. Like, anyway. So that sucks. I hate to see that happen from like a big studio because like this trickles down. What people don't realize is how much this trickles down, you know? Like other people in the industry are going to see this. People who are investing in virtual reality are going to see this. They're going to be like, yo, like, why would we put money into this when big companies are doing layoffs and stuff like that? And it stunts growth. But you know, that also opens up a really good time for indie developers who are self-funded, self-projecting to jump into it.
So, yeah, some or what are they called?
Bootstrapped.
Yep.
Bootstrappers. I mean, that's what I did. That's what a lot of companies we know have done. And it's hey, like sometimes that's a good chance. Oh, I also remembered I'm wearing my Helldiver shirt today.
Heck yeah, dude.
Let's go for democracy. I love that game. I could go off about how much I love that game. I still play it so much.
Yeah, I need to jump in it. I actually updated it this weekend, so maybe we'll have to jump in.
Yeah, low-key, last week on Thursday night, I live streamed at like 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And I just jumped on Helldivers. We got chat involved. We got a bunch of people in there. It was one of the most fun things I've done on stream in a while. And I'm just like, man, that was beautiful. We did like a hell dive mission. Like we were doing like some crazy stuff. So like, man, we should talk a little bit about streaming because that is a whole thing. Sure. I know some of you guys last week we said we were gonna bring on our good buddy Dilmer onto the podcast. He got caught up in some stuff for where he works at to get permission to come on the podcast. So he was unable to make it this week, guys. But he is still planning on attending some point. He just has to get a couple of things sorted out before he's able to. So we will be talking to Dilmer, guys. So please, we will let you know. Stay tuned to our socials if you want to find out when we do that podcast episode. We're really sad he couldn't make it today, but he will be on here. We will bring him.
And we're going to get the guy who made the sports game.
Yes, we're going to get Jordan on. I need to follow up with him. I've had kind of a crazy January. I freaking hate taxes, dude.
Tell me about it.
Compounded exponentially for businesses, dude. Holy crap. Anyway, so yeah, sorry about that, guys, but we will get there. Don't you fret. Anyway, streaming. Let's talk about streaming.
This is going to be more probably interactive, this section, guys. Just so you guys know, This is a podcast, so we do this. We have kind of topics that we talk about. Usually at the beginning, we talk about our wins and losses for the week. And then usually we'll jump into a little bit more interactive content. So usually like the first 20 minutes is more just us talking back and forth. But now we're going to answer chat a little bit more. We're going to, be interactive with you guys on there. And then as well, we have some topics that we're going to talk to you guys about. So today we wanted to talk about streaming since Garrett's been doing it now for a little bit more, like consistently, kind of seeing some results from it. And I'd love to just hear about your experience with it. I think there are probably some people here that would love to get into it. So
yeah, no, so like streaming has been like a really fun thing. I honestly, the funny thing about streaming for me is like I feel like it has kind of become this like everything I've done recently. I started doing it just for fun, like I just needed some like a creative outlet. I love, like, one of the things I love doing is interacting with communities. Like that is just something about me. I've loved, like, some people hate public speaking. I love public speaking. Like I love being in front of crowds. I love like that interaction, the hype you get from like people like watching you, being with you. Oddly enough, like I love that, and yet I'm an introvert at the same time, which is the other hilarious part of this, right? But so yeah, I started streaming just like kind of recently. I've only been doing YouTube, like this YouTube channel, the Garrett the Gamer YouTube channel, for just over a year. And just recently I've started streaming, and it's been a ton of fun. But one of the hard things, like there's a couple of interesting things about streaming. And again, like it's like hard to talk about because I don't, like, not everyone's streaming is the same. So like I stream VR content and I just stream like whatever I feel like playing, but some people definitely get trapped in like the only thing they can stream is the one thing that their viewers watch. And I feel lucky where it's like, I'm not like that. I can play whatever I want. And usually people show up, we have a good time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the most fun that I've had on stream lately has been playing with chat. Like, I told you guys about the Helldivers run that we did last week. That was so much fun. Yesterday, I jumped into a Tactical Assault VR with a couple of viewers and a couple of like people I've known in the community, and I fetching punched my desk so hard. And, like, look at my.
You were on the treadmill too, right?
Crap. Hurts so bad. I was on the treadmill, which is a lot of fun, but I accidentally, well, not accidentally, but I set the treadmill to be realistic, like 1-to-1. Oh, no. I hiked so far yesterday. we were like playing the mock of like the Osama bin Laden raid. Like they have that in that game. And holy crap. Like I had to hike over Fetching Mountain to go get this guy. And I'm like, props to the Navy SEALs, bro. Like those guys are in such good shape because I'm on a freaking omnidirectional treadmill sweating like no one's business. God.
That's funny.
So yeah, that was a ton of fun. But the other thing that we've done, and this is like a whole category of games that I feel like they could make more of, is like chat interaction games.
Yeah.
Like one of the funnest things that we did is there was one night where we jumped into Fortnite and I just opened it up to anyone. Like we got a party of like 56 people in Fortnite and jumped into a private game and had just one of the most fun streams I've ever done. Because it was just like people who I knew in the chat, they're all coming after me because they knew that I was the one streaming. But like the way Fortnite works, like the people who like killed me, they would then be the person that was getting highlighted. I could still react. It was a blast, dude. And there are not very many games that allow you to interact with that many people at scale. And it's just so much fun. Like there's a whole category of like streamer games that need to start happening because, like you said, marketing is 90% of getting your game out to people. So if you built a game with like the interaction between like a streamer and chat built into the game, whether that's like with the scalability that tons of people can play it at the same time, or just like I've been looking into like how can I make it so that like my chat can spawn like bosses against me in a game or something. Like that would be cool if someone just had that built in. But anyway,
there used to be a game. Let's see. It was a battle royale, I want to say, and you had one person that was kind of like the camera that was flying around inside of the battle royale. So you'd have, I think it was like 8 teams of 2, and they were in different sections. The person controlling the game was like the game master, and that was typically the live streamer, and he would close down like different sections of the map. So they would control which sections were unavailable. They'd also be able to like fly over to people and drop like rewards for doing different things like chests and I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to look it up. Like it was awesome. I just imagine it's hard to get enough people to play that on a stream, like because that's your market if you're doing something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I think like obviously at scale, that would be the case, right? You'd have like a streamer who's like playing the game, but I also feel like that could work at a smaller scale too. Like having a game master who's handling kind of this small version of the game and can provide just like fun elements to it, like I kind of think of like the Hunger Games where like they had the people in the arena, but then they also had like the game makers that would shake stuff up, right? Like I can see that working even like, I mean, just like imagine if you're with your bros and you're like, yo guys, let's jump into this game. I'll be game master for this round. And like everyone else is playing the game, but they have someone. I think there's something there, dude. I think that could be way cool. It
might be fun for a stream. I think Demio has a mode where you can be the game master and set up all the enemies, and then you can have people play as the like little pieces and stuff. That'd be an interesting one.
That's not a bad idea. I have the other game idea that I was thinking is like, so like I jumped into Minecraft and like I jumped into a lot of people's like Minecraft worlds.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, fun.
Like I'm still so new to Minecraft. I don't understand it, but like at the very end of the stream, like me and this guy were just in his private world in creative mode, and we just started building a castle. Like it was so sick. And I was like, you know what we should do? Like let's open up like a community Minecraft server and host like who's got the coolest base and just do like like a check-in. Like I don't know, chat. Is that something you guys would like? Would that be cool? Like I don't know. We could do rewards for it too, because I've seen people build some great. Like I jumped into this one kid's, like his world, and he had built like a pirate ship and this whole town and this really cool and nice like houses and stuff. And he's like, yeah, it took me like a month, but like I'm super proud of it. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. Like he built this amazing town. And it's like, I kind of want to see more of that. I would love to see more of like the creative stuff happening in the community. And again, like I just love those games that allow that side of streaming, like allow multiple collaborations and stuff like that. So
it would be interesting to do like a community spotlight every single week. Have somebody send something in. So like at the start of the podcast, maybe where there's an intro thing, we could have like an image or like a video that somebody made be the entire intro. And then we could talk about it, get some stuff like information from them before about what they made. Because I mean, guys, this podcast, like we talk about a lot of video game news, but another thing that we want to help people do is like get into game development and get into like creative. No matter where you work in the future, no matter what you do, it's good to have like a creative outlet. Making video games for a lot of people is that creative outlet, and we'd love to help you on that journey to figure it out. Even if you don't do it as a living, like it's still a lot of fun to do stuff like that. So we want to help teach people as well. But yeah, it'd be fun to have like a community spotlight thing during the podcast.
I would love that. I would love to like highlight like people making indie games. Like I know in the Cell VR server, we have a couple of 3D artists who like they have made the most amazing things. And I feel bad that I haven't like spotlighted them enough, because they like seriously, they're like, there's this one guy, what's his name? Fetch. I haven't looked at his stuff in a minute, but he like every week for a while was making a new idea for Cell VR, like Pirate Attire, and they were impressive. Like they were straight up amazing. And like I wish there was like a better way to spotlight that'd be cool. Like I could definitely see that.
Yeah. If you guys think that's a good idea, let us know. I know like somebody earlier was asking about like level design, and there's like tons of stuff. We could do like more questions from you guys too. We're going to try and run a little bit more marketing on this podcast in the next little bit. We've gotten to 15 episodes without any marketing. We've kind of just chilled, done this for fun, not really pushed super hard on it. We streamed the Garrett the Gamer channel because it has a lot of people. And then we have like my YouTube channel and then the podcast YouTube channel. So we just kind of stream to places. Don't put it out there except for like LinkedIn. But we're going to start trying to get more people into these conversations. So I made a post on LinkedIn today, and I wanted to share it with you guys, like the numbers that we've kind of been doing over the last little bit. Because, like I said, not putting a lot into it, but let's see, we have, just since starting this podcast, we stream to over 500,000 followers, which is mostly Garrett the Gamer, let's be honest. We usually have like at least 30 to 40 live viewers per episode. It gets downloaded 25 to 30 people every single week through the podcast networks that we're on. And then the videos typically average 1,000 to 2,000 views per podcast episode, if not more than that. So, like, we have some stuff going on. We want to try and get more people into it and help you guys more, and maybe get some of you guys some exposure, or, you know, like help you, encourage you to continue pursuing what you want to do and like what inspires you and why you enjoy video games, and maybe help you create content instead of just consuming content.
So yeah, no, that's huge, guys. Like, we really appreciate everyone who comes out to these podcasts. Declan and I just love talking about this stuff. This is like what we talk about anyway when we hang out. So we just made it a weekly thing, and it's kind of turned into something. Like, it's actually turned into kind of this crazy product. So we're gonna push it a little more. I'm probably gonna be posting about it on Garrett the Gamer tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. You guys are the OG podcast listeners. Excited for that. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. So if you guys have like suggestions or anything, seriously, go and join the Garrett the Gamer Discord and like leave us ideas for the podcast in the podcast section. Like, there's lots of good stuff there. We'd love to have you guys talk about that. So I know a lot of people, when I talk about streaming, I feel like a lot of people want to like know, like, okay, like how would you get into it? Mm-hmm. And this is like the one hang up to streaming is like, it's kind of hard to get into. Like there are cheap ways to get into it, but they just don't work as good. Like, even I am doing pretty much everything for my streams free, aside from the equipment I use.
Yeah.
But like, the equipment is kind of necessary. Like, the fetching PC and internet that I have to have in order to stream like that, kind of wild. I don't know. I kind of want to explore like free streaming solutions. Like, I've never actually, I know the MetaQuest, for example, like if you want to stream VR, which I feel like there's a huge gap in that content, guys. There's not enough VR streamers that can captivate the audience. So I'd love to see more people jump into it. Like, when it comes to VR, the MetaQuest supposedly can stream to YouTube. Again, never tried it. That's like a new thing. But again, like, apparently it can. I would just be curious, like, how well that works, and like if you can actually see the chat and whatnot. I've been streaming lately to YouTube Shorts. Okay. I would highly recommend that to everyone who's like starting out streaming. Like, literally, when I would stream to like the full length, I would get like, you know, like 30 or so viewers or whatnot, and like 2,000 or 3,000 views. Ever since I switched over to streaming to YouTube Shorts, guys, we've gotten like 30 to 40,000 views with like 100 or more viewers on average.
Yeah, you stream late too, which seems to be like less saturated. So you're getting, when I watch you, like, I kind of scroll through to see what else is going on as well. And there's just like freaking weirdos and annoying people that stream at that time. So like, good content at that time is so
chat. Also, again, this is one of my things. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but I put TTS for all of my chat just on, and everyone's like, how are you not going insane? I'm like, bro, that's just my brain anyway. It might as well be someone else's stuff going on in there right now. It's like, I turn on TTS, and for anyone who's wondering, I use a website called Speech Chat. It's got a lot of good customization to it, a lot of like, and it's free. Like, you just literally have to hook up your Twitch account and your YouTube account to it, and it just works for free, and it just reads out. There's definitely a few things I don't love about it. Like, for example, it will read out stuff even if like the moderators have deleted the thing. So I get some unhinged comments that still come through. But oh my gosh, I love, like, that's the thing that's missing in streaming right now, is there's not enough like make it easy. Because a lot of times I feel like most streamers that I've talked to about this have made it so that like they can see their like chat at the same time as they're doing like whatever, right? Like, I just have it read out to me, and I'm like, how does anyone read chat and also play a game at the same time? That's impossible. For sure. Like there needs to be more stuff like that where it's like read out to you with like better filter systems and stuff like that. But yeah, so speechchat.com if anyone's wondering how I make the AI voice go off in my streams. That's how we do it. And
we have a couple really good questions here real fast. Like,
okay.
when you're talking about processes, somebody asked how do you make shorts lives instead of video live?
It's all you got to do. So I use this plugin. It's a free plugin. Again, this is another guy I absolutely love. He's called Senpai Gaming. He supports a company called Atium or Atum, AITUM. I mean, something like that. Anyway, they have a plugin for OBS called Vertical Streaming Plugin, and it literally sets up your number one, it does restreaming, so you can stream to multiple platforms at once. So I stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time all the time, and then it sets up a vertical canvas for you. So instead of landscape, which is what you guys are seeing right now, it does vertical.
Cool.
And yeah, you just set up the streaming stuff on there, and you're just good to go. Like, you just hit stream and it goes straight there. You can set it all out. I recently learned that you can now link scenes. So like I have the same setup for both Twitch and for then you have my AI camera that just thinks that everything is dramatic and needs to be zoomed in. But yeah, so like on OBS, you can actually link scenes so that both your like Twitch and your YouTube looks the exact same. It's just in a different format. It's been awesome.
That's cool.
I love OBS. I know there's other kind of more user-friendly ones out there, but OBS is not that hard to figure out. And it's just the customization is, especially for me who does like VR and flat streaming and all these crazy things with like multi-streaming and whatnot. It's been way better for me. So yeah.
And then Smooches said that a couple people have said they don't really like the vertical streaming, the short streaming, which is totally understandable.
Sure.
That's why Twitch, he does horizontal like that. Yep. You kind of have your pick. If you want YouTube, then you can watch the vertical. If you want horizontal, then you can go to Twitch.
Yep. That is, yeah. So again, this is another thing is there's a lot of, I know Twitch has a lot of things for this, but YouTube needs more like bot command type stuff. Like on Twitch, if you go to Twitch and you type in like !Discord, it'll pull up my Discord link for you. And like, it'll just tell you exactly what the Discord link. And I've had a lot of people not everyone loves vertical streaming. I get that. It's not like the most flattering of verticals, but I love it personally. I think it's fun, but I do a lot of short form content. So like, that's just how my brain thinks. My brain thinks like this. So, but like, I wish there was like a bot that I could say, like if someone says, hey, where's your Twitch? What's your Twitch? I would just send them a link to it, because right now to find my Twitch, you have to like find the description, which is kind of hard to find on YouTube Distort, and then click on the link and blah, blah, blah. So like, I do highly recommend multi-streaming. I know like that's a new big thing that's arisen in live streaming is the ability to stream to multiple platforms. Like right now, guys, we're streaming to Twitch and YouTube, and there's good tools coming up for it, but there needs to be better tools. Like for sure. Like a combined chat is so hard to find. Like a YouTube and Twitch combined chat is like nearly impossible to find. So anyway.
Yeah, we for this actually use a different software called Restream. So that's how we're streaming to the Practically Reality YouTube, my YouTube, to Garrett the Gamer YouTube, and to the Garrett the Gamer Twitch. And we have 2 camera feeds. So it's combining, I'm in Texas, Garrett's in Utah. So it's combining all of our feeds into one thing that it's recording, and then it has the chat as well. That's all being done through Restream. So there's like some pretty cool stuff. Obviously, like we wish this was a little bit better. We could probably connect it to OBS and customize this a little bit more, but we're just trying to get as much like interactivity and ease of use for you guys as possible. We're trying to make it as high quality as we can. So.
Yeah, we're still learning, guys, and we'll admit that we're learning and it's not perfect, unlike some people. So like, we just want to make this fun. We have fun with it. We hope you guys have fun with it. And we also get to talk about a lot of news, which is great. So anyway, if anyone has any more streaming questions, please like put them up in the chat. I would love to see this guy saying, do you have Monster Batman? Do you use a gaming PC to do PC VR, or can you just use a regular PC or even a laptop? So funny enough, I, for a long time, only had a gaming laptop. I built all of Sail single player on a gaming laptop. It was like an Alienware something. So like you can, a laptop is absolutely a viable option. I like a PC. Usually PCs just have better specs, but it is possible to do it on a laptop. But I mean, if you can get a PC, you might as well just get a PC. Like,
and
that's my thoughts.
Do you do PC VR very often? Because he's asking specifically about that.
How often do I do PC VR? So it's not. I prefer standalone for a lot of reasons. Usually, number one, it usually works better. Like a lot of people, because like you have to optimize for games, it usually works better. And I don't know, dude. Like, the funny thing is like PC VR is kind of in like a content drought of VR games.
Yeah.
Like it's been a minute since I've been very interested in a PC VR title.
Because why would you make it for just that? It's not even like, I don't know.
Yeah, like there's a game on PC VR called Rumble. It's literally earthbending in VR. It's one of the coolest concepts, best executed, and it has an amazingly dedicated community. But they just like I don't know how they're still going because there's no way they're making any money. It's like $14 on their store, on the Steam store, and they have said that they're working on bringing it over to Quest, which I'm just like, hallelujah, that is fantastic. But like, it's just sad that this game, like, you jump in and you try to find like a match to go like try out your earthbending skills or like learn from someone. Just no one's online. It's just not at scale, you know?
Yeah. So. And like, honestly, guys, it's hard to make VR games on Steam. I've been a part of, so I worked at a company called Continuum. They made Monkey Do. And when we published to Steam, within like a week, the whole game was hacked.
Yeah.
When you publish to Quest, you don't really have to worry about that. But when you publish to Steam, there's a lot more like risk of you getting your game hacked, especially if it's multiplayer. So the hack that happened in Monkey Do was as soon as somebody would load into the server, somebody wrote code that would allow them to throw tons of poop at the character that came in. So in Monkey Do, if you get hit by poop, it knocks you back. And they positioned themselves so you would immediately get hit an infinite number of times by poop, and it would knock you back in a straight line until you flew in the tutorial portal. So you couldn't get into a live server of Monkey Do because you were getting pushed into the tutorial server. So like people hack VR games a ton when you publish to Steam. So yeah, I know Sail had a problem with that as well, right?
Yeah, so when we first pushed out Sail VR to Steam, we did make it purchase. So like that's a lot of people complain. They're like, oh, but like on Steam, like the game's purchased. That deters 90% of hackers, guys. Like if you just make it so that your Steam VR game is just like that, there's that there's a price tag behind it, like that deters 90% of people. But when we first launched it, someone still got on there and wiped everyone's stuff. We didn't encrypt our files at all, and so they literally decompiled our code and got access to our backend because our API key was just there and just erased everyone's information. Just cleared out the entirety of the database. And so everyone who had jumped on and bought like the early access starter pack and all thing, like all of it was just gone. And it was like a nightmare. We had to take the game offline for 2 days to get it fixed. And it was
crazy.
So scary. Cause like at that time as well, we had just switched Sail from being a paid game to a free-to-play game. And so we were already scared of like, is it going to work or not anyway? And immediately gets hacked, has to take it down. And it was like right around Christmas time too. So like, we we're trying to like make sure it was in a good spot. Oh, it was terrifying. That was like one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. But that we have since learned a lot about like anti-cheats and whatnot. And it's gotten way better.
Yeah.
I know there's still a lot of stuff that some people complain about in the game, but we've been able to deter like a lot of like the big stuff now.
Yeah.
But that is the whole thing. Like Steam, like PC VR is just harder to build for because there's just people that are like straight up, they're just malicious. Like
Yeah,
they just
for
want to
sure.
get on there and ruin your game. They don't care, So
Yeah, I don't know. Like encrypting stuff, you learn a lot. A lot of VR developers are like first time developers. I feel like a lot of them are making things for the first time. So most of us wouldn't think about encryption, and like there's not a lot of super experienced netcode developers that are making multiplayer servers and doing that kind of stuff. So it's like hard lessons that maybe the rest of game development has learned earlier on, but we are experiencing and making stuff for the first time.
yeah. No, one of the sad things that I've heard about recently is like there's a lot of Gorilla Tag clones out there. And I know that's a whole discussion that some people like hate, some people like it. It is what it is. There's a lot of Gorilla Tag clones. A lot of times these Gorilla Tag clones are made by like teenagers who are following tutorials on YouTube and they're just trying. But there's literally a group of hackers out there who is dedicated to taking down as many Gorilla Tag fan games as possible. Like I don't know who they are,
So
but
funny.
there's a group who is just taking out any and all. Like they even tried to hack Yeeps, and they caused a lot of issues for Yeeps hide and seek. I was talking to the devs about that, and like I like that sucks, bro. Like that sucks that there are just like these people out there who are like, man, I hate Gorilla Tag games. Like we're gonna take down, and I've seen a couple of like kind of interesting games that you just straight up can't get into because it's that broken now.
Yeah,
and it's like that's sad that like some teenager put probably a decent amount of time. Like guys, Sail was 90% tutorials I watched on YouTube at the beginning. That's how you learn.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just really sucks to me that like there's just people out there like just trampling on those who are just trying because like we got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
People forget that like everyone's a beginner at some point. That's just how it is.
We got a really good question here from Fat, Dumb, and Happy.
Great username.
Like the name. Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
great. I am too. So in my lifetime, I've seen technology advance faster than some of us could even keep up with. As I get older, I wonder if VR will be easily accessible and usable by our senior citizen community. Any thoughts?
Ooh, I got thoughts on that for sure. But I'm curious on yours.
Yeah, I think VR has proven to be helpful in senior citizen communities already. I think it's our responsibility as developers and designers to make things that are accessible and usable by anybody. That's a huge thing that both Garrett and I studied a lot in college. So our college didn't have like a VR emphasis. We both studied information technology, and we were both doing emphases in user experience design and human computer interaction. So it's important to design things that are usable by anybody. It's on the developers to do that. I feel like VR can get to the point where it is. I think Apple Vision Pro fell short in a lot of things, but the fact that it was all hand tracking and worked really well as hand tracking is super I guess promising for like the elderly people in the world. Because they won't have to use controllers. They'll be able to control it with things like their eyes. And it would probably be easier to control VR in the future than it will be to control your mouse and keyboard or your cell phone. That's my hope, at least. I hope we get to the point where that's a thing. But VR is really good for older people's brains, especially if they suffer with any type of like dementia or Alzheimer's or any type of like mental deterioration disease. Video games help engage parts of their brain that help them stay healthy for longer. There's a lady that I used to follow that was like 80 or 90 years old, and she played oh man, what's the name of the game I'm thinking of? It's a Nintendo game where you are basically a little guy. There's a ton of animals that are the other characters in there, and you're just making your house, and it's like a super chill game. I have to find it really fast.
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, Animal Crossing. She was like 80 or 90 years old. She had a Nintendo Switch, and it was a Game Boy. No, it was a DS. That's right. It was a DS.
3DS. Yeah.
She played Animal Crossing for like 15 years in the same world, and it was keeping her memory going. It was like all of her friends were in Animal Crossing. She was healthy because she was playing Animal Crossing every single day. And I remember seeing that her DS died, so that was like a big thing. They're trying to figure out how to get another DS, so she could go back and play with her friends again in Animal Crossing.
So sad.
But yeah, like video games help in general, but VR even more so because it's so immersive and it tricks the brain's conscious and subconscious so that you feel like you're actually there while you're in the experience.
Yeah, Enchanted in the chat was saying recently there was a judge who was given a VR headset.
Yeah,
to look at a crime, like a reenactment of the
so
crime.
Cool.
Scene. Fascinating use case that I had never even thought of before, but like, so incredible for like a judge to literally see what they're trying to explain rather than via like a video or anything else. Like, just like one of the most interesting use cases. And so, like, going back to like the senior citizen stuff, like the way that VR and especially augmented reality, like I've been looking back into the Meta Orion glasses. Yeah, those glasses are going to revolutionize so much about what we do day to day. Like that is going to be the next iPhone. Like I'm willing to put my money on that. That form factor and the capabilities that they are promising with that like thing, that is going to be nuts. But again, like going back to it, most of VR can be interacted with your hands, which is one of the most intuitive ways we as humans know how to interact with things. And like Declan was saying, as long as the developers keep that in mind and create the proper interactions, like it's going to be easier than using like any of the technology we have today. Like iPhones have been great for the elderly because like touch, right? Again, they're using their hand. It makes sense, but still there's a lot of stuff about like the internet, buttons, like just all that stuff that doesn't make sense to the elderly people. But this next generation of older people have had the internet for a while. So I'm kind of curious if that'll like change, but I just truly think that the medium of VR is going to be so much easier for people to understand because it brings in a lot of things that is already intuitive to us, like touch, like being able to sense things at a depth, being able to interact with things the way that we would interact with them in the normal life, stuff like that. So,
yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see. I think we're just still very early on in the technology. I mean, if you look back at the evolution of cell phones, we didn't really understand the right way to interact with cell phones. I remember Apple was the only one that you could tap on with 2 fingers. It was the only one that used technology that was like the electronic signals from your body clicking on the screen. That I think that's how the touchscreens work, at least. Like you have some sort of conduction from your fingertips to the screen and it registers kind of the electricity. So like back in the day, there was a BlackBerry smartphone that used pressure. So you would, it was a touch screen, but you had to like push on it and it would bend the screen and click like a button. So
it
like
did not work.
Figuring out the interactivity for even smartphones, I think is like there's a huge evolution process that it took to get to where we are now. I think everybody uses the same thing now, but VR, more complicated interactions, so it's going to take a little bit longer to get that figured out, but it will get figured out eventually.
Yeah, I recently tried out the Meta smart glasses. Have you seen those? The Ray-Bans Meta smart glasses that have like the cameras in it?
Yeah.
Okay, so in their newest model, which is the one that I was like messing around with because my brother-in-law got them, they have integrated into it their Meta AI assistant. So you can say stuff like, "Hey Meta, do XYZ," right?
Yeah.
And that's another side of this whole thing that is crazy is like voice controls.
Yeah.
Voice controls are getting so good. Like we are getting close to basically having something like Jarvis in your ear.
Yeah, for sure.
That could do tons of stuff with it. And that's like another exciting thing for especially like the older generation where it's like they just have to talk. And hopefully like the developers have designed it well enough that it's just, you know, you say the thing that you need to say and boom, you know, like it gets done. Like I had these glasses on and I said, "Hey Meta, what am I looking at?" And it took a picture, uploaded it to whatever wizardry they do on the back end. And it was like, looks like you're seeing a TV and like these
That's
things.
So
it was
cool.
like, showed me. So my brother-in-law, he was saying like one of the things he was planning on kind of using that for is he runs a fishing company, which you guys should definitely go check out. He runs a fly fishing company. Declan, you'd probably like this. You're into fly fishing.
I love fly fishing.
He makes his own flies and he's selling them now in the TikTok shop. So
dude,
he's hustling.
That's
I love
awesome. Random side note, tell him if he ever needs duck feathers, man. I shot like 80 ducks this year, so I don't have a ton right now, but next year I'll get him some duck feathers.
I bet I'll pass it along. But anyway, he's been recording like as a way to market his products. He goes out with his flies and like catches fish with them. And he's like, it's been so hard to capture like that footage. So now he has these glasses that he can just, as he's fishing, he'll just say, hey, Meta, take a video, like right when he catches it. And it's just from his perspective, totally hands-free, like really cool piece of technology. Like voice commands are another thing that have been advancing every day, better and better and better. And again, supernatural way, like not supernatural, but a very natural way to interact with technology that we're just getting better at.
Yeah, AI smart glasses, I think, are some of the coolest tech going out right now, and people don't even realize like how awesome it is.
It's getting.
I need to get a pair of Meta Ray-Bans.
That was a major part of CES this year. I saw tons of smart glasses. I actually had a company reach out to me about a potential collaboration, so you might see me reviewing a pair soon. We will see. But they've got a long way to go. Orion is the one like smart glasses that I've seen that it's like that will be game changing if they can actually get that to a reasonable price point.
For sure, it'll get there. I mean, we had a professor in college that worked on AR glasses, and they're like, he told us they were like $300,000 for a pair of sunglasses.
They were a military prototype that was like insane. Yeah,
it was like 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, it's
to get to where they were back then to where we are now is crazy. So it'll continue to, develop.
We'll keep an eye on it for sure. It's it's a spot I'm interested in because a long time ago I saw a GIF of like all the things people had like in 1960. There's like the radio, the television, the phone book, and all these things. And this guy made this really awesome animation where things slowly like compacted into like the things that they are now. So like, the phone book turned into like the little like organizer. It kind of showed like the evolution of technology, but the final form that this guy actually created was glasses. He's like, eventually everything condensed into a pair of glasses. You had literally everything just in your glasses, not a phone, but literally glasses. It's definitely, I could see it going that way for sure. There's also the scary idea of it becoming, like Neuralink, which I think we've talked about that in the past, but that's a scary potential
reality. Yeah.
Well,
we have two more questions that I think we should answer in today's podcast, and then we could probably call it.
Let's do it.
The first is a video game design question. Ooh. I think is good. Why do you enjoy Helldivers so much? Like, what is different about Helldivers? What design choices do you think they made that make you enjoy it as much as you do?
Okay. There's a lot of like there's a lot of things they personally got to me with. Number one is they did a lot of immersion type things. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like to start off, the whole idea of like, you have to go get in your hell pods to get ready to go. And like the cutscene is as if you're in the hell pods, right? Like it just shows you dropping onto the earth. And when you're ready to go, you go into first person on that hell pod, you hit the ground and you're going. That like, a lot of that immersion, like you never want to be out of the game. There's a lot of stuff with that I've loved. I love that there's no health bars. I feel like that's more immersive to me is when it's like there's no health bars and stuff. The game loop itself is just ingenious. Drop in, complete objectives. Once you've completed the objectives, you can extract, do it again and again and again. And then more than anything, the whole. Like, I think the game itself would have been fine if it was just that. Like, if you could just jump in with your buddies and go do that, it would have been fine. Yeah. The Galactic War is something I think about every day. The fact that there is a war, like, it's not just like a couple battles. They're simulating a war with multiple factions that you can make a difference. That's the big thing. It's like, I've never felt so valued as a player in a game.
For sure.
Like, my actions in a video game make a massive difference on what's going on. And I think that's the thing. It created this community where it's like if I get on social media and they're like, yo, like Teton Creek or whatever is falling, bro. We need you here. I'm like, I'm on tonight. I'm going to go help out, And like, I'm to the point as a player where I can play like super Helldive and all those points where my contribution makes a huge difference, And that like like what an investment as well as like a player to feel like you're doing so much for not just yourself, but a community of people. Like that has been absolutely revolutionary and has just kept me hooked on the game because I feel like I feel like a soldier. Like I feel like I'm getting deployed and helping the war, you know, like that has got to be the biggest reason why I love Helldivers is I feel like I'm a part of something bigger. They literally made you into a part of this galactic war that's going on. And you've just like, you just get hooked on that, you know, like the gameplay itself is fun, like the base game loop, but that meta gameplay of having this war that you can contribute to and actually make a difference in. Like, they've made us make hard decisions, you know, like there was this really interesting campaign where there's like, you could either go to this planet and save a research facility that will allow us to get more. It was like, they're going to buff all of our, like the damage to our weapons or something like that. Or you could go to this other planet and save the children. And the community chose the children, bro. Like they went in and we saved the kids. Like we're like, screw the damage buff, bro. We're saving the kids. And literally, like, because of that, in real life, the CEO of Arrowhead went and donated like $10,000 or something to some charity for kids.
Wow.
And I was just like, what an impact that had on so many people because, you know, anyway, just the game has just, I feel like it tapped into this thing again of like the gaming community is crazy and no one has tapped into like the true power that the community has. And this is the first time I feel like a game has just adequately gone about that. So yeah that's why I love Helldivers.
I'd say for me, I really like it because like you were saying, the co-op nature of it, I feel like there aren't enough PvE co-op games. Everything is PvP. Everything is you're competing against other people. So having some type of game where it's an entire collaborative game, you're not competing against anybody at all throughout the entire game. Everything is PvP. Like that is extremely unique. Or sorry, PvE. That's a very, very unique style of game that is still very, I guess, brand new for people. And then having one person control the whole world is pretty cool as well. So, like somebody said in here, Helldivers 2 is D&D. Like you're right. You have 100,000 D&D players, and you have one dungeon master. Like that is so cool to me. So, I don't know. I think those are two unique propositions.
Well, it also like to further the point of like the PvE instead of PvP. Like the game market is so saturated with these games that pit you against other gamers, and you get mad when they're better at you. This is the first time in a long time, like you get on Helldivers and you can actually relax.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is challenging and it scratches that itch of like being a challenging game. But at the same time, it's like, I can play with my buddies and not be pissed off at them at the end of it, you know? Because I'm not getting, no scope 360 by, Hacker McHackerson on Call of Duty, you know? Like it was such a nice, refreshing, non-toxic gameplay that has just been absolutely great. So that's another reason I think it's been like a great refresher.
There's one more question we can answer pretty quickly, I think.
I bet.
Somebody said, why VR?
Why VR?
Why? I personally already love. So I was studying programming, hated programming with consoles, which is like what you do 90% of the time. Console programming blows. It's so boring. And then I started getting into using like screens and stuff when I write code, just seeing instant gratification, monkey brain. I saw like things happen when I was writing code. It was awesome to see. But then the next evolution was video games. Like you could see everything, you were building something cool. And then I read Ready Player One, and that's what got me into VR. So Ready Player One is why I am in the XR industry. Just that idea of immersive storytelling and immersive content and like creating worlds that you can immerse yourself inside of and be a part of, because everybody's looking for escapism in one way or another. VR is just the coolest way to do it, I think, right now. And I've kind of been dreaming of it since I was a little kid, honestly.
100%. So for me, why VR? So when I was in high school, I was on student council. And one of the things that we did at my high school is we do this thing. It was called the Spirit Bowl. Okay. And what the Spirit Bowl was at my high school it is sophomores or freshmen versus sophomores versus juniors versus seniors. It is the classes getting pitted up against each other in this massive competition. Everyone turns out for it, and it was always themed. So every year, like they theme it. So like one year we did Star Wars. It's like
cool.
the seniors were the Sith, the juniors were the Jedi, so like stuff like that. We did like Avatar: The Last Airbender. So my entire high school experience, I was only on student council for my senior year. And my entire high school experience, I was dreaming of making a Spirit Bowl happen because I wanted to do Tron and I wanted to do Harry Potter. Those are like the two that I wanted to do. When we did Tron, we blacked out our entire gym.
Oh,
we
cool.
Blacked it out and put on LED lights and glow sticks on everything. We made it look like Tron. Like one of the things I am most proud of is we did this intro where we had all the lights on. Everyone came into the gym. They're all excited, because the competition was about to start. And I was emceeing the whole thing.
Cool.
And I was just like, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grid. And we just blacked out the lights. And all of a sudden, we just start blaring Daft Punk music and just
that's awesome.
And I turned on my suit. And I had made this awesome suit that had like red lines because we were red team, right? And so like we had these red lines that just like turned on our suit, and we were just, like the whole crowd went nuts. And that's like when I had this thought of like, when you're in it, it is unlike anything you've ever experienced. Like that was real world virtual reality where I simulated the like being in Tron for a whole group of people, and like we were on the grid. We literally did like light bike races where we decked out these like tricycles with like glow sticks and stuff. So they look like light bikes. And then like we raced them around. Like that was one of the competitions. So like I was there. And then as we went through college and stuff, we had that opportunity to start jumping into VR. And that first time I put on that headset, dude, and was like, I was a robot. I played Echo VR. That was the first VR game I ever played. I was a robot in space. There's that same feeling again, where it's just like, I'm here, I'm doing this, I am fulfilling something that I could never do in real life,
Yeah.
And that like, again, like I'd read Ready Player One and like the idea was there, but like once I had actually seen it, once I jumped into Echo VR and been like, holy crap, this is the next thing. I was just a full believer from that moment on, because nothing is more immersive, more fantasy fulfilling than actually being in it, and only VR can provide that. I'm sorry, if it's on a screen, you can get pretty into it, but you're not in it until you're actually in it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why VR for me. There's nowhere else where you can actually be in it.
Yeah, that's a good answer. The last question that I really wanted to like dive into a little bit, and I don't know if you'll have an opinion on it, but Jenny No Mercy always comes in with the great questions. Let me see if I can show. It says I can show the question. Dope.
Hey, there we
go.
Look
at that.
Let's go.
Awesome. Jenny said, question for our incredible cohorts. It feels like it's been way too long since the fighting game genre has gotten a proper shape up. What does this genre need to mix up the status quo? That's a really good question.
Ooh, that is a good one.
I have some opinions on fighting games. To me, as well, the fighting game genre is extremely fickle. Definitely hard to make fun for everybody. So you have fighting games which are very easy to get into. They're like easy to play, but then there's no like higher end of real skill expression at the top level. And then there are some that are very hard to get into, but the top level players have a lot of skill expression, and it, like, I don't know, it works out well. It's fun. But you can't, I feel like in a fighting game, it's really hard to appease everybody. I'm excited to see what Riot Games fighting game is going to be like, because I love the League of Legends IP. I've heard, though, it's not catered to people who suck at fighting games. It is really a very complicated system that's only going to be fun for the people that are at the highest level. So I think it's just a really hard genre to figure out, and I think people need to get creative with it. One of my favorite fighting games that has come out in the last little bit was made by, I think it's called like Reptile Games or something. Team Reptile. That's the name of the studio. It's called Lethal League. and I think Garrett's played it with me before. It's a fighting game where instead of just punching each other and fighting each other, you're hitting a ball in the center of the game. So you're doing all your combos and all your attacks on a ball, and every time you hit the ball, it speeds up the ball and it bounces around everywhere. And then you're invulnerable to it, so it can't hurt you or damage you afterwards. And then somebody else has to do an attack to the ball, and it increases the speed and makes the movement more erratic. You can use like specials like you would inside of a fighter game, where you like do a really special attack and it'll do something crazy. It depends on the character. But essentially, if you get hit by the ball, then you take damage and then you die. So to me, that was like a crazy, like cool, interesting concept. It was a competitive game for a while, that had some fun live streams, but as well, like it was a ton of fun for very casual players as well. And Lethal League Blaze is the second one. So there just needs to be some new concepts brought to the genre, because Mortal Kombat 11 is still just me punch other person, me Sub-Zero, me Luke Cage. It's the same characters, a lot of the same abilities. Sure, some of the mechanics are tighter. I feel like honestly fighting games evolve even less than sports games do, because at least sports games have people move from team to team. Whereas I feel like fighting games are just an updated version of the same exact characters.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I will say, I totally agree with you on the point of like we need to mix up the mechanics. One thing I would love to see from a fighting game, I would love to see like Avatar: The Last Airbender type combat, where it's like elements basically, rather than like the, because like you're totally right. I feel like too often with like fighting games is you get stuck into like more of like a game style that a certain character offers. And so like I feel like if you were to do something like a Avatar: The Last Airbender like elemental type fighting game, like that would work really well, where it's like, okay, yeah, there's some styles, but like we'll let you play your styles. Also, are there any like free to play brawler games these days? Like with the whole, again, I think you totally nailed it on the head. There's a problem with like skill, right?
Yeah.
There's some people who are so good at the game, like they will just keep you in the air. Like I'm thinking most of like my time in Injustice. Like there were just some players that they were so good with the combos and stuff like that, where it's just like you had no chance. So I feel like if you were to do a free to play fighting game that had a really well put together ranked system, where you could play ranked matches where you actually got placed against people in your skill level, that would also like make a huge thing. And then the other thing I would love to see from fighting games that I think could help that out is I would love to see like some genre mixes.
Yeah.
Like it's a fighting game and I don't know, like maybe like a roguelike, where it's like you keep going off on like these little 1v1s. Like what was that one? Infinity Blade was a super fun mobile game where it was like a fighting game, but then it was also a roguelike, and you like got better and better and could get through things like faster.
Yeah.
I saw I don't know if this game ever actually released, but I saw a concept for a game where you were playing chess, but every time someone went to kill a player, it started a fight, like a fight. And like whoever came out of the fight was the piece that remained on the chessboard.
Interesting.
So it was like another version of chess. I just think, yeah, like Declan said, we need to get creative with it. I also think another great thing you can always do for like games if they're struggling, especially in the genre, is like make one that's more like accessible by making it free to play or something like that. Like, we just gotta get, because I'm with you. I definitely think the fighting genre has gotten stale, because there's kind of the big players, you got Mortal Kombat and Injustice, and some of the other ones fall by the wayside. And people have tried, like Multiverses tried to come in and do that. But
yeah. Well, I think I liked your comment about genre mashups, because Smash Bros is a platforming fighter, right?
Exactly.
That was a huge shakeup in fighting games when Smash Bros came out. Like, you had your Mortal Kombat, you had your Street Fighter, your Soul Calibur, all that stuff. But like the platformer fighter was crazy, and it's its own super successful genre now, So it'd be interesting to try out different mashup concepts for a fighting game. I think that'd be pretty fun.
I agree. I totally agree. But hopefully we see that.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Jenny.
I love that we can show the questions now. That's new. That's
that
good.
Makes me feel legit.
We're legit.
Cool. Well, I think we've been talking for about an hour 20. We could do like a couple small questions, less deep dives. Do you have any tips about building your own VR games? Look up tutorials. Dilmer, the guy we're going to have on here eventually, one of the kings of making Quest tutorials. And then if you just want Unity tutorials, Brackeys has a huge repository of tutorials. He's still the GOAT. Tutorials. But even though he hasn't made a video in like 4 years, he's still a GOAT.
Also, Unity has a really good like course you can take that if you complete all their tests and stuff, they actually give you a certification. So like if you're interested in getting into the gaming industry, that's a fantastic certification you can get for free. Just go to learn.unity.com and you can find stuff there.
Do you like pineapples? I do like pineapples, except Poppy I think I might be allergic to them.
Dude, I do not. I don't do horror games, Fire Shadow. Like I'm the biggest wimp.
We gotta do like at $1 million you do a horror game.
I'll play Lethal Company, bro. I want to jump into Lethal Company and Murky Divers soon for research purposes. But no, dude, like legit horror games like FNAF and crap like that. I could probably do FNAF. I could get over the jump scares, I'm sure. But
no, we gotta do something. I want you to play at 1 million subscribers. You should do like a real horror game.
Nah, I'll play Pokemon for the first time. How about that?
Okay, that's crazy. You haven't played Pokemon.
I've never played a Pokemon game.
Don't play Pokemon and play Pal World instead.
That would be so funny. Welcome to the Pokemon stream. It's Pal World. What's the future of sale? Pancake. If you want future of sale stuff, dude, go to the Sale VR server. We have a whole roadmap channel now where we kind of talk about what's coming next. Go and check that out. I just recently updated it like a week ago, so it's pretty recent. What's your favorite idea you're working on in sale right now? Do I spoil?
Server wipes.
Do I spoil the fun? Ooh.
Tease, not spoil, just tease.
Do I tease it?
Just give one.
Well, okay, I teased this already. I already teased this. Throwing knives are coming to sale, and they're stupid fun. They're so much fun. And we're making some changes to the combat axe that are, again, just stupid fun. We're working on a whole crew system rework that will most likely include a new bounty hunting system that we're really excited about. So that's gonna be great.
Do you think the bounty hunting system is like for more solo play? I guess like less. I mean, I remember you had like the quests before.
Yes. So the bounty hunts will be like specifically player targeted, and one of the things that we're trying to do with it is like a lot of time people jump into the game and we notice that they go to like Dead Man's Island because you jump into Dead Man's Island and it's a PvP arena. Like you just immediately have something to do. It's crazy fun, tons of fun. Like it's a great place, but we've had a hard time keeping people in the world and like going out and doing like the world stuff. So we think that by doing because what will happen is when you jump into the game, if you pull out your map, you will be able to see the people who are marked by a bounty and like how much they're worth. And so you can go and you'll be able to you'll be able to kill them, return with their bounty skull, and you'll be able to cash that in for whatever amount they had on their bounty. And you'll also be able to like place bounties on players. So like if you really want someone dead, go put 40,000 gold on them. And like just when someone kills that person, it'll take your gold and it'll put that bounty on them.
Every time Enchanted logs in, bounty.
Yep. Enchanted is just going to always have $1 million bounty. No. Yeah. So really excited about that. We're doing a lot of polish right now. So there's just a ton of things that we've just smoothed out. Like today we tested out a bunch of like sailing improvements. So like sailing has been a bit bumpy since we added in the big waves. Freaking Churchill, he's the GOAT of a dev. Today he was just like, I fixed it. It's done. And so now sailing is going to be that much more smoother. It's great. Stuff like that. So
cool.
Kraken's coming as well.
I think we should wrap it there. Guys, sometimes we do a post-stream after party where we stream again. Garrett, do we have time to play a little bit of Marvel Rivals?
I already scheduled the stream, my dude.
Perfect. I can play for like 45 minutes. So
sick. I got to update it too. So 3:45, guys. I'm jumping into Marvel Rivals. We'll play with Declan until he can't no more, and then we'll see which of you fools can help me out.
Sick. Well, I'm gonna play out our outro music, intro, outro, and thanks for coming to the podcast, guys. Again, we do this every single week, same time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We jump on, talk for about an hour and a half, and just go over tech. So come join us. We'll post tomorrow to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and to Amazon Podcasts, and come join the fun.
Okay, bye.
Peace.